Hello, here's a spell, and welcome to the Spell Re. This evening, or I guess whenever you're watching this, I currently have 83 subscribers. So we're almost at 100. Jeez, just last week I didn't think we'd get this far. But apparently with Midoriya had Dimensional Magic did better than I thought. It's done average for the channel, but overall it's done surprisingly well in the sense that I have a whole lot more subscribers now. And that's the only thing I can think that's really could be responsible for such a big increase so quickly. 6 subscribers in only like a couple days. And actually, yeah, just 6 subscribers just in a couple days. So, yeah, that's a lot for this channel. But, with that being said, please check out the Anime Web subreddit to help this community grow. And I hope you enjoy this video of what if Asta had the Sharingan. I'm sorry if this is a little bit rougher. I'm recording this kind of, no script like usual, but just other stuff happening and it's getting late and everything. So I'm sorry if this recording is a little rougher than normal. We start out this what if right where we left off. Asta approaching a bit of ground pointed out by the note he received. He would unearth it, not to find too many more details about his origins. Just the fact that he has apparently extensive relatives in what the letter referred to him as a clan seems to be very interesting. All he found out was that their crest was a fan. I am changing the Uchiha's weaponry and style a little bit to fit the Black Clover setting a little bit more, since they've spent years there. The Uchiha crest is like in Naruto, a fan with two colors, white and red. But with two swords behind them. He also found scrolls describing techniques he can use, along with multiple short swords and weapons that are labeled paper bombs and other things like that. They seem to have been manufactured spell items, or, well, enchanted paper items that exploded, along with a short sword. He would take the notes and train with them, and this would go roughly as in canon, including meeting his red-haired master, who would help teach him about swords. Asta would also figure out how to channel his chakra through a blade. He found it to be cumbersome with his large sword, but with the dagger-like sword, he managed to figure out that it worked rather well. As he learned how to extend it to create a blade, he found it to be green, and since it was in the scrolls, he assumed it may have been a new technique he based off of his master's wind sword ability. And since I don't want to take up too much time like my last video, we will jump to the Magic Knight exams. This would go pretty different to in canon. Asta would be confident with a dagger on his hip, his grimoire on the other hip, and knowing that he doesn't even have to rely on his anti-magic, which he still found suspicious since he wasn't 100% sure what it was. Sometimes he thought he heard something chuckling in his dreams, but he wasn't sure. I've changed Libe and Asta's relationship just a little. As he joined the exam, the anti-magic birds would actually swarm Asta before he released a wind blast to scare them away. Focusing power to his eyes, he would be able to see everyone's mana. Unlike Canon, he would see Yami and steer wide away from him. He used his Sharingan to see Yami and just saw a lot of black, dangerous-looking mana. He would decide to stay clear of him, even though he doubted he was a contestant. He'd hear people whispering that was the captain of the Black Bulls, also being amazed that was apparently a captain. He would see the captains gathering and initiating the trials. Going through them real quick, Asta would fail at the broom flight challenge. But on many of the others, he would actually do fairly well. On the magic attack, he would create a ball of fire and shoot it, getting everyone's decent score. As the battle portion would begin, Seke choosing Asta since he didn't seem super strong and he was a peasant. But when Seke started talking down to Asta, Asta would get rage. He would put chakra into his eyes and activate his Sharingan, unnerving Seke. Seke would immediately start questioning his decision as he put up his defense. As he attacked Asta, Asta would simply dodge, using his Sharingan to tell where they were going, before he used chakra control to jump forward, bringing out his large sword, slamming it and breaking the defense, but not hitting Seke. As he brought out his dagger and activating his ability, streaming wind magic through his sword, slicing, giving Seke an uneven haircut in the process, before slashing his clothes, before looking at him with the Sharingan activated and just saying, as Asta would just say, should not judge one before they know their abilities. After all, if I met you in combat, you would have died very quickly. Before nearly making Seke wet himself, Asta would just walk away. Before someone actually called the match, people would be discussing the match as other matches would happen. Yuno's would go exactly like in canon. All the captains would raise their hand for Yuno, like in canon. Well, Asta would there would be a few captains who were not sure. His appearance in the flight exam was abysmal, not even getting off the ground. But yet he seemed to have a good bit of magic, but yet he seems to have almost 3 abilities, which were unheard of. He was able to bring out that giant sword, produce fire, and seemingly win. They were unsure, but as the captains were thinking to themselves, Asta would start to get disheartened. He thought no one was going to choose him. But why? He didn't do that bad, he didn't think. Before Yami just raised his hand, saying, "We'll take him." Asta was happy, as things would go in canon. But Yami would actually ask Asta as soon as they met up after the exam if he knew what that power in his eyes was. Asta would just look at him and say, "It's apparently called the Sharingan. Other than that, I don't know too much." Yami would sigh and just say, "I have 2 people in my squad with that ability, and neither one have any true clue on what it is." Asta would be surprised, saying, "What? You have someone else with the Sharingan?" "Yeah, ironically, it's another kid from the Forsaken Realm." Minor correction in post-production. When I recorded this, I was under the impression that Magna was only like a year or 2 older than Asta, since he seemingly did a lot of the grunt work, but yeah, no, he's actually a few years older, so minor correction. He's also a newbie from the squad. You'll meet him once we get to him, and maybe you 2 can figure out what that ability is. It does give you some nice perks. As they would go to the Black Bull's hideout, and like in canon, everything would be exploding, Vanessa would be drunk, and Magna and Luck would be trying to fight each other. Yami would tell everyone to shut up, and they would all listen to him. Some asking how he is. Charmy would say if he wants some food, and a few would ask if he picked up anyone new. Yami would just chuckle and say, "I did pick up someone new," as he brought out Asta. As they just tried to do as they would bring him out so they can do the initiation. Magna would be doing it like in canon. Magna would get a fireball ready and saying, "We'll let you in if you manage to survive, dodge, or block it," as he threw it at him. Asta, like in canon, would figure out how to use his anti-magic sword to deflect it. Yami being shocked. "I thought this kid's magic was either fire or wind, not reflection?" As Magna, like in canon, would just manage to block it before it hit him, but also would notice a glint of red in his eye. Magna would just get back up and say, "Man, oh, that was close, you nearly got me." As Asta would activate his Sharingan, noticing that Magna too had a Sharingan and that he had activated it in order to block the attack. They would look at each other surprised, Before Yami said, "Yes, Magna, it seems that he does also have that power. I expect you two to get along and figure out how to properly use it." Before Magna just said, yes, as they would settle in for the night, with Yami telling Magna and Asta that tomorrow he wants Magna to show Asta how to take care of the chores, and then after that they can discuss their ability. This would go like in canon, with Asta taking care of many of the chores, finding out that the house does move around and that it seems to be magic somehow, and nearly getting eaten by the hounds. Magna chuckling at this, and says he'll show him how to not get eaten as he activates his Sharingan, as he looks him in the eyes. Asta being shocked as their pupils start matching the Sharingan, as they calm down and start getting calm. Magna saying that that's an ability of the Sharingan. Asta nodding and saying, "I didn't realize you could use it on animals, so I just thought it was an illusion ability." Magna saying it's a little different, Ethe. It's a little different. You can control the senses if you get good with it. As after they fed the dogs, Magna and Asta would talk. Magna actually didn't know anything about his ability. The closest thing he got from his grandma was that they were once part of a clan, and that his great-grandmother was apparently part of this clan. They moved to the Forsaken Realm of the Clover Kingdom, where their family maintained the ability, but greater knowledge of it was lost over the generations. Magna just knows the basics. Asta would nod and say that he was left at a church. Apparently his mother was also a part of this clan, and he actually had some scrolls. As he pulled one out and did a hand sign bringing it out. Magna would be look in shock and say, "Yeah," as he just explained that apparently they have the ability to access another type of power that's not directly tied to magic, and that's what Asta uses. As he stuck himself to a wall, Magna would be shocked and say, "No magic ability I know can do that." As Asta said, well, apparently magic can replicate some things with chakra, while chakra is more like primal magic. As Magna would ask what makes Asta think that, and say that once he showed the kids at the orphanage, almost all of them were able to do it. Magna nodding. All he knows about chakra is what has been passed down, which is it's connected to life force and magic. Everyone has small amounts of chakra, and that it will normally people just mix it in with their magic. But it is a little different. Asa would just nod. They'd run into Noelle, where Magna would get splashed with water, as he just yelled at her, saying, "Show some respect for the chain of command. I'm your superior. I've been a part of the squad longer than you, and I'm higher rank." Noelle would respond, same as in canon, imagining that she had to hide the fact that she couldn't control her magic. Otherwise, they would make fun of her, and maybe they'll just kick her off the squad or something else like that. As Asta would be trying to use another technique called it was called the teleportation technique, even though it seemed to just involve fast movement. He thought that it was a weird name for the technique if it actually involved fast movement instead of actual spatial manipulation, but he would keep trying to perform it. He would actually manage to succeed, but not be able to control his distance, as he popped into some bushes, but I know where Noelle was training. He saw her being unable to control her magic, as one blast nearly hit him, as he just said, "Sorry for interrupting you. Do you need..." As Noelle, just in her head, just started imagining everyone making fun of her, since she's unable to control her magic. As before Asta could say anything, water would just start erupting around Asta, as this would go roughly as in canon, to where Yami threw him. He would pull out his anti-magic sword and counteract the magic and look into Noelle's eyes to put her to sleep. He would do so, and they would bring her in, and she would wake up a minute later. She remembered what happened and just imagined them all berating her. Everyone was just glad to see her up, some even asking if they can help her train. She's shocked, and Vanessa would just say, we're all misfits. If nothing else, you have probably the most magic in the place." Asa would just nod, saying that she has probably the most magic he's ever seen. Thinking back to the Magic Night exam, he had just thought Yuno's magic was abnormal for Forsaken Realm, but when they got to the capital, we realized just how abnormal Yuno was. The captains were the only ones with mana amounts greater or at the same level as Yuno's. As he just said, yeah, besides, most of us here don't have natural talent. I've had to work a lot just to learn what little I can, and I've never been able to beat my friend. And that we can all help you train. Nothing wrong with asking for help here. As Noelle would actually try to hold back tears of happiness that she isn't ostracized. And we'll leave it there for this session. I do hope you like, share, and subscribe. And next part, we should be covering the Sase Village arc. And we may have more stuff be revealed about the Black Bulls. Not too much happened, but really this was more of a fill-in with in-between arcs where I just want to explain some more things. And thanks to the users for well, the one guy who agreed with me that I should probably make another one of the Black Bulls, like Magna, a Uchiha. If you think anyone else will make a good fit for a clan, just comment it down below. I have decided on one thing. Will going into a little bit of spoilers, but it's already been in the manga. That being the prince of the Spade Kingdom, is also a descendant of the Senju, who came to the Black Clover world. Other than that, this will be the Spellery, signing off.